Got another scam. Another scam out in Atlanta. What is going on out in Atlanta? Is this like the scam capital or something? There's a lot of scams coming out of Atlanta. What's going on out there? Where my Atlanta folks at? Y'all tell me what's going on. This Atlanta family loses their inheritance, their family home, everything on the inside of it, and even their late uncle's ashes. In this not so elaborate scam, in my opinion. Seemed like the guy just a series of unfortunate events, and the guy just so happened to be able to get away with more than he probably should have. Just doesn't really, I don't really see this being the case for a lot of people, but it's interesting scam. All right, so y'all let me know what y'all think. Okay, it's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.
But this is the back of the house.
A walk around this Lithonia property.
Watch your step.
Is a somber stroll down memory lane for Trayvon Brown.
It's very emotional. I had a lot of memories,
About 2 decades worth. A family home his 69-year-old Uncle Evans Lee Jr. owned.
Nice house, too.
Now, the family ownership is gone, and so is Uncle Evans Lee Jr.
Every time I come here, I just want to cry, bust down and cry because he gone, right? That's the only person I had left in my life.
Although Evans died in 2022, the case of alleged fraud only just began to unravel.
I would like to see Mr. Watson prosecuted to the full extent.
He's talking about Randy Watson. The family filed a police report against the 43-year-old who submitted paperwork in probate court days after Uncle Evans Lee Jr. died. Randy sought to inherit whatever assets remained. This probate court petition shows Randy signed a sworn statement that he was the only child and sole heir. No additional proof or supplemental documentation was required. As a result,
To me, that's the first weird thing, right? I mean, these days you can't even buy a cheeseburger without ID required. So it's kind of weird that you can just inherit someone's property on just your word. I don't know how that works.
the probate judge appointed Randy Watson the administrator of the estate. Randy gained access to everything his father, Evans Lee Jr., left behind. Just one problem. Evans Lee was not his father. In fact, Evans Lee was no father at all. He had no kids, which means Randy Watson is not his son, not even close.
Who is he to Mr. Evans?
He's not related to him.
A certified DNA test proved it. The results show Randy is not even a family member, that there is a 0.00% chance the late Evans Lee Jr. was his dad. This was a court-ordered paternity test, which only came after the True family got wind someone filed probate paperwork on their uncle's estate before they could. Trayvon and his wife learned about it once they tried to file their own probate paperwork. After more than a year of waiting, a judge ruled in favor of Trayvon and his family, citing there was neither evidence to prove paternity nor documentation that Randy had a right to inherit anything. By the time it was proven Randy was not the so-called sole heir, and the judge ordered everything to be turned back over to the True family, it was too late.
There was never an opportunity to go in the home, clean the home out, none of that.
Cleared it all out.
Cleared it all out.
The DeKalb County home itself foreclosed and auctioned off. Most of the belongings and sentimental items gone too. None of it as valuable as Uncle Evans Lee himself, an urn with his ashes also nowhere to be found. When officers asked, Randy told police he'd been robbed of all the items, the valuables, the money, and even Evans Lee's ashes, according to this police report. an allegation the family does not believe. Atlanta News First Investigates discovered receipt records from a local disposal company in the time period Randy had access to the home. The receipts revealed items were moved from the Lithonia property at least twice last year, more than 60,000 pounds worth. The most unbelievable matter for the family begins here. Trahan maintains his uncle was adamantly against cremation, that he wanted to be buried alongside his wife.
But he was cremated. And whose decision was that?
Randy Watson.
It goes back to this funeral home, FL Sims. The owner confirmed to Atlanta News First Investigates Randy Watson identified himself as the son and told the business to cremate Evans Lee Jr. The funeral home did not require proof of kinship or an ID or any other documentation. They simply took his word for it.
Is the attorney here, the director here?
No one's here.
When asked to talk about this,
Again, there's too many steps in the process where this could have and should have been caught. It just kind of blows my mind. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Is this like a normal thing? But it kind of blows my mind that it's this easy for someone to just say and do.
documentation. They simply took his word for it.
Is the attorney here, the director here?
No one's here.
When asked to talk about this case and its policies, the funeral home would not interview with us. There is no Georgia law that requires a funeral home to confirm if someone is truly next of kin. And because Evans Lee died while in hospice, the funeral home was tasked with completing the death certificate. Based on the information they say Randy provided to them, they filled in the death certificate, a document now riddled with false information. Decedent's son, Randy. Wrong. Again, Evans Jr. had no children. Decedent's birthplace, Nebraska. Wrong. Evans Jr. was a Louisiana native. Decedent's father's name, unknown. Wrong. Evans Lee was a junior, meaning his father shared the same name.
Because ain't nowhere in the world you could just let anybody come in your establishment and say, hey, I am the next of kin, without even checking their background and seeing if it's true.
Probate attorney James Clifton.
I've seen cases that are, absolutely heartbreaking where things like this happen because the person committing fraud, they have no care.
Is why the 15-year veteran probate lawyer urges loved ones to secure 3 documents before death: a will, a medical directive, and a financial power of attorney. Since Evans Lee had no will, Clifton notes exploiting the probate process was easier.
It feels like it's too little too late.
Right. It's unfortunate because that is oftentimes the result, is that the bad actor receives the funds, by selling the property or whatever, and then it's gone. They spend it.
He argues cases like these
Criminal infractions, if it can be proven,
should be criminally prosecuted.
And it's hard even being on the property right now, just looking at it.
Evans Lee Jr. worked in construction, fixing homes, fixing problems for others. His family hopes to fix this for him.
Uncle Lee was a good man. He did a lot of things for a lot of people. Lots of people.
And these type of stories are just they hit a little different. Not that it's any worse than the stories that we cover, because we cover some pretty crazy stories, but just hits a little different, knowing that we all here on this planet trying to better ourselves, better our family, and just we work hard. Like, look how beautiful this house is. It looks beautiful. It's peaceful. It looks like it's in a nice, quiet area. And it doesn't look like this property was purchased by someone who didn't work their butt off their entire life. And then for someone to just take it upon themselves to just claim ownership. Like, like that's like 40 years of hard work, or however many years they said. But regardless, it's like, you know, 30, 40, 50 years of hard work that went into this. Uh, and I know most people don't make purchases uh, like this, you know, without the thought of where they want to leave that to in the future, right? I'm sure he decided at some point that he wanted his family to have it. He didn't want some stranger on the street to have it. I'm sure, right? Like I think that's a reasonable guess. Um, but this is an example of why it is important for us to have this stuff in writing before we ever get to the end of our life. This would have been a non-issue if he had it all written out and planned and discussed it with family. Well, I don't want to say it would have been a non-issue. It just I think it would have been a little harder to happen. I mean, they said this within a couple of days. Dude was already there, so I mean, maybe it could probably still would have happened, but nevertheless, it's still uh, it's it is still something that we need to be paying attention to as we get older, as we um, create this wealth for ourselves, and we think about leaving it to the people around us. Even if you don't have any kids or anybody that you directly want to leave it to, but you want to leave it to an organization or um, a group of people or something. Have it down in writing. At the end of the day, we can't escape all of the scammers out there. Um, After watching this all the way through, I have a hunch that this guy knew more than what one would have known being a complete stranger. I think he knew that he didn't have kids. I think he knew that once this guy passes away, he already had that plan in motion or in waiting to be put in motion. Uh, he probably had conversations with them at some point and knew that there was nobody inheriting it. Because I can't imagine just a random stranger would just be like, "Oh, he died. Let me go over here and start signing paperwork." you know. Um, so I have a hunch that he absolutely had more information than it looked like he had, and he took advantage of that. And hopefully he gets punished to the full extent of the law. He didn't even have the decency to keep the guy's ashes around. Like, just the lowest of the low. Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, it's Ricky Rich of Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.